Warning: the ghost frequency is rewiring your subconscious. The room felt wrong before anyone said a word. No sound, just a pressure in the chest, a whisper of dread. A fencing foil on a workbench began to hum, like a tuning fork from nowhere. Out of the corner of his eye, a gray figure leaned by the desk. There, then gone. His pulse spiked. He wasn't alone, right? Get this. The culprit was a ghost frequency around 19 hertz. Too low to hear, but strong enough to shake his eyeballs and twist his gut. If air in a room can edit fear and sight, what else can it quietly rewrite inside you? Roadmap, what you'll learn and why it matters. Here's where we're going, fast. We're going to meet infrasound, the stuff below 20 hertz you don't hear, but your body absolutely does. We'll hit the famous 19 hertz glitch, why it lines up with the human eyeball's natural wobble, and how that smears vision just enough for your brain to fill blanks with threat. We'll show how a silent room can make you feel watched, then prove it with real cases, like engineer Vic Tandy's lab ghosts and buildings that turn moods upside down. Then nature's playbook. Tigers lace their roars with subaudible lows that land in your chest first and freeze you for a beat. Elephants whisper across miles using long waves that slide around hills and trees. Crocodilians shake water with low bursts that hit your gut before your ears can label it. Same physics, different motives, survival, territory, family. Next, the urban mess. The hum. Taos, Bristol, Windsor. Different cities, same late-night drone that only a handful hear, while many just feel restless. We'll look at suspects. Industrial fans, ventilation farms, traffic, microseisms from distant surf, and those sneaky nights when the sky traps sound and pipes it into bedrooms. Inside you, 3 lanes matter. 1, vestibular mismatch. Your inner ear says, "We're moving," while your eyes say, "Nope," and your body flags danger. 2, autonomic shifts. Pupils open. Skin conductance ticks up. Heart rate steadies high. 3, amygdala priming. Everything feels a notch more urgent, so choices tilt towards simple, safe, fast. Finally, tools. You'll get simple tests that actually work. What to measure and how the difference between A, C, and G weighting, and the small fixes that turn dread rooms into normal rooms without incense or drama. By the end, you'll know if a space is nudging your mood, stealing sleep, or bending choices, and exactly how to take that power back. Meet the ghost frequency. Imagine a world where the scariest thing in the room is the part you can't hear. Infrasound lives below 20 hertz. That's so low, a single wave can be the size of your living room, your house, even a city block. Your ears don't log it as sound, but your chest, your gut, and the tiny sensors that keep you upright absolutely do. No joke, your body is the instrument here, and the room is playing you. Where does it come from? Nature rolls it out all the time. Ocean surf pounds the seabed and throws off microseisms, long, slow thuds that make the earth hum. Storm fronts push pressure waves for miles. Quakes whisper before they shout. Volcanoes broadcast their mood like a subwoofer. Then there's us. Traffic convoys rumbling through streets, trains in tunnels, escalators and air handlers in malls, and those big rooftop HVAC units that seem harmless until a bolt loosens and a duct turns into a pipe organ. Wind over openings can hoomph at building scale. If it moves air or shakes the ground, it can plant lows. So why does 19 hertz keep showing up in ghost stories and something's off rooms? It parks near the natural wobble of the human eyeball, roughly 18 to 19 hertz. You don't feel your eyes shake, but picture a camera with a tiny jitter. The image smears just a hair, mostly in the edges of vision. Your brain hates gaps. It fills them fast using best guesses. If you're already on edge because your body feels pressure and your heart's up, your brain predicts threat. Shadow in the corner? Boom, presence. You didn't decide to see it. Your prediction engine did. The vestibular piece matters. The ear tracks acceleration and tilt. Low frequency vibration can tickle those sensors without matching what your eyes see. That mismatch screams something's wrong. Your body flips to high alert. It's not dramatic, it's steady. Breathing gets shallow, shoulders tense, pupils widen. You might feel a little motion sick or just off. And you'll start scanning, which makes you jumpier and more likely to misread normal shadows as threats. That's amygdala priming in action. The alarm is pre-wound. Now zoom out to spaces. Wavelengths, this long bounce between walls and build into standing waves, places where air pressure wobbles harder. That's why you can sit at one desk and feel nothing, then take 2 steps and suddenly feel an invisible hand on your sternum. Room shape, ceiling height, where a vent fires, these details set the stage. Add a misaligned fan or a ducked elbow at just the wrong length, and you get a quiet, powerful tone centered right in the ghost zone. This brings us to the moment that hooked a lot of skeptics. Engineer Vic Tandy, alone in a Coventry lab, felt a wall of dread. Temperature felt wrong. A gray shape flickered by the desk. Hours later, a fencing foil clamped in a vise started to hum on its own. He traced it to a standing wave around 19 hertz from a misaligned exhaust fan and the room's geometry. When the fan was fixed, the wave collapsed. The fear in the figure vanished. He wrote it up in the late 199s, and the eyeball resonance idea stuck because it fit both the optics and the gut. Stakes? This isn't just spooky stories. It's sleep, focus, and group behavior. Low, steady energy around 19 hertz can fragment sleep architecture without you noticing a sound. You wake edgy, stress hormones ride higher, and by midday you're more reactive. In a meeting room parked on a room mode, a tense topic turns into a blow-up faster. In a gym with bass rigs that pour sub-bass into your bones, your vigilance rides high for hours after the workout. In transit, platforms and tunnels can prime you so your commute sets your fuse shorter. These are nudges, not mind control, but lots of small pushes can bend choices. Here's the natural side that proves the body path is real. Tigers lace their roars with low components that land in your chest first. Elephants pass rumbles across miles through air and ground. Crocodilians shake water so hard it dances on their backs. The common thread is long waves reaching the vestibular and visceral systems fast. Humans show the same in labs, slide an under 20 hertz tone under music, and a chunk of people report chills, unease, a sudden urge to leave. Skin conductance ticks up. Many don't report hearing anything. They report a feeling. So is this just a glitch of physics or a tool someone uses on purpose? Nature uses it on purpose. Cities copy it by accident. Humans have tried to harness it, but the physics demand big power and big hardware, and air bleeds energy fast. Still, even without sci-fi beams, infrasound can quietly shape moods and visuals in spaces you trust. Offices, apartments, malls, trains. That's why this matters. Because if air can tilt your baseline without asking, knowing when and where it happens gives you agency back. And once you can point to the hum, you can change it. The lab ghost that wasn't. Vic Tandy. Have you ever walked into a room and felt your stomach drop for no reason? That was engineer Vic Tandy in a Coventry lab in the 199s. He wasn't a ghost guy. He fixed medical kit, fenced on weekends, and trusted tools more than tales. One late shift, the air felt thick, like a storm had parked indoors. His skin prickled. Out of the corner of his eye, a gray figure leaned by the desk. There, gone, there again. He checked vents, doors, lights, nothing helped. His pulse wouldn't come down. He went home rattled and came back with an engineer's version of sage, a reason to measure. He clamped his fencing foil, thin, flexible steel, into a vise on the bench. Around midday, it started to hum on its own. No one touched it. It thrummed like a quiet tuning fork, the way metal only moves when the air around it is pulsing just right. That was his first solid clue. The room was playing a note he couldn't hear. He started moving the foil around to map the invisible. In one spot, it was dead still. 2 steps over it buzzed harder. He was walking through a standing wave. Peaks and dips fixed in space, long as the room itself. He borrowed a simple sound meter. Not because it would show 19 hertz cleanly, it wouldn't on A weighting, but because trend lines tell stories. The lab's layout, the long duct runs, and an exhaust fan speed had teamed up to build a fat, silent wobble. The number that locked it in was around 19 hertz. That's right next to the human eyeball's natural wobble. Engineers model the eye like a fluid-filled sphere with elastic walls. It has resonances the way any sphere does. Shake it at the right rate and you don't feel a jiggle. You get a tiny blur, mostly in peripheral vision. Meanwhile, your vestibular system picks up the low rumble your ears don't name. Vision says still, balance says moving. Your brain hates that mismatch. The amygdala leans forward. You scan harder. The prediction engine fills blanks with threat. Gray flicker by the desk. Presence. You didn't choose it. Your body did the math and handed you the answer. Tandy did the simplest test. Turn off the source. When maintenance killed the exhaust fan, the foil went quiet. The dread drained out of the room like someone opened a valve. No more shadow person. He realigned the fan, checked the duct geometry, and the standing wave collapsed. Days later, the weirdness didn't come back. He wrote it up, The Ghost in the Machine. In 1998, in a psychical research journal, and skeptics paid attention because it bridged a gap. It didn't call people liars. It said your body was honest, the room was loud. Let's be real about what that case did and didn't do. It didn't prove all hauntings are fans. It did hand us a repeatable mechanism. Long wavelengths, room modes, 19 hertz near eyeball resonance, vestibular mismatch, amygdala on a hair trigger. It's tight enough to test in your own space with boring gear. Walk with a tone generator or a measurement mic. Watch for hot spots where a blade or a panel buzzes. Feel pressure build when you step into a node. If the feeling fades when mechanicals stop, you found physics, not phantoms. Here's a micro story from a different building that rhymes. A janitor in an old auditorium kept reporting watchers from the balcony. Security never saw anyone on camera. One night, a stagehand left a big floor fan running behind a riser. An hour later, the custodian called shaking. Maintenance came with a basic Spectrum app. A weighting showed nothing wild. Switched to an unweighted view, and a fat lump sat around 19 hertz, stronger near the back wall. They moved the fan, added rubber isolators, and the watchers retired. The fixes are always unsexy. Rebalance a rotor, add mass to a flexi panel, tweak an elbow in a duct so it isn't the perfect organ pipe, slow a fan by 5%, shift a rack by half a meter. No incense, no Latin, just a wrench and patience. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Those cold spots in old buildings, often just nodes in a long, slow wave you never thought to measure. Why start the whole journey with Tandy? Because his lab is where the story stops being campfire talk and starts being testable. It puts a face on the stakes. Sleep, attention, and choice bent by air you can't hear. It gives you permission to doubt the room, not yourself. And it plants a simple question you can take anywhere. If I turn off the fans, does the ghost leave? If the answer is yes, you've got a plan, not a haunting. Nature's sonic weapons, tigers, elephants, Crocs. If a loose fan can rattle an engineer, imagine what evolution can do when survival is on the line. Predators didn't read papers on infrasound. They just learned what worked on nerves and knees. Start with tigers. Keepers will tell you, up close, a roar isn't just loud. It feels like a hand on your chest. Recordings of big cats show energy dipping below 20 hertz. You don't hear that part, you wear it. Here's the pattern people report again and again. Half a beat of freeze before the audible blast lands. That pause is everything. The low component hits your body first. Vestibular system, chest wall, gut. So the amygdala perks up before your cortex forms roar. Pray that would bolt hesitates just long enough to give up ground. It's not mind control. It's a reflex hack, measured in fractions of a second. Now elephants. Imagine a family spread across miles, still coordinated like they're in the same room. They trade rumbles that ride under 20 hertz through air and ground. Long waves curl around trees, bend over hills, and lose less energy on the way, so the message carries. Stand near a calling matriarch, and you won't think sound, you'll think pressure. Keepers talk about the room thickening before any obvious noise. Sensors in the inner ear clock the slow pulse. Receptors in the chest and blood vessels answer with tiny adjustments you don't notice. Breath timing, heart wobble. Communication lands as a shared body state before meaning gets decoded. Crocodilians run a different play. Broadcast size. Watch a big male in display. He inflates, humps his back, and then, this is the show, water over his spine dances like it's on a subwoofer. Those are low bursts coupling straight into anything touching the lagoon. If you're in the water, you feel a shove. If you're on shore, you get a hairline shiver that doesn't match what your eyes see. That mismatch is the flag. Something large is moving mass nearby. Rivals read it as, I'm here, I'm huge, think twice. Females read it as, candidate verified. Evolution loves honest signals. Big bodies make big lows cheaply. Small bodies fake it badly. So what's the path inside us that lets these tricks work? The vestibular system is the front door. Those semicircular canals and otolith organs track slow rotation and linear acceleration. Long waves push on them gently, like the world did a micro tilt. If your eyes don't confirm motion, your prediction engine throws a yellow light. Meanwhile, the autonomic system tightens the ship. Pupils open a notch. Skin conductance rises. Breathing slows and shallows. You don't choose this. It's the legacy code built for storms and herds. Low frequencies talk to that code well. Humans show the same thing in controlled tests. Slide a 17 to 20 hertz tone under music or room noise and don't warn people. A slice of them reports chills, sudden unease, a prickly sense they should leave. Skin. Conductance bumps. Heart rate variability tightens. Ask what they heard, and they'll say, nothing, but something felt off. That split, strong body signal, weak conscious label, is exactly the window predators exploit. The body moves first, the story catches up. Here's where it gets practical for behavior. When the alarm nudges on, nuance shrinks by design. Your menu becomes simple. Move, hide, fight. A tiger roar that carries infra might grab that menu for a breath and tilt odds on the chase. A Crocs body base might settle a rights dispute without a bite. An elephant's family call might pull attention from browsing to regrouping faster than air alone could. Long waves are quiet organizers. There's a range question too. How far can this go? The lower the frequency, the longer the wavelength, the better it bends around stuff and hugs the ground. Air eats high notes. Lows keep trucking. That's why elephant rumbles reach herds you can't see. It's why a tiger's chest hit sneaks through brush. It's why a swamp display shakes more than it sounds. And it's why human machines sometimes step on the same nerve. Ship engines, ventilation stacks, long ducts. Evolution built us to respect slow mass moving. Cities accidentally press that button. Do we have a tiger button in the brain? Not literally. We've got a set of reflexes tuned to big, slow changes in the world. Infrasound talks to those reflexes faster than language. Hit them once, you get a jolt. Keep them humming, and you get a mood, a bias in choices, a night of broken sleep. Nature uses the jolt with precision. Our buildings deliver the mood by mistake. Quick micro story from a zookeeper who learned this the hard way. A new viewing tunnel went in. Concrete, glass, nice echo. Visitors started reporting creepy vibes at one curve. No obvious sound, but strollers lingered less. Kids clung more. An acoustics check found a room mode piling up around 19 hertz when the male tiger did low contact calls. Designers added damping behind panels and detuned a ventilation fan that had been helping the mode. Same cat, same calls, no more creep. The all came back without the edge. That's the through line. Tigers, elephants, crocs, different lives, same physics. Long waves hit the balance gear in the gut first. The body reacts, then the brain makes sense of it. Predators learn to aim that gap. We built spaces that stumble into it. Once you see that, a lot of vibes stop being magic and start being anatomy and air. The urban hum, towns driven up the wall. While that was happening in the wild, towns were learning a messier version. People started reporting a low drone that wouldn't quit. Taos in New Mexico, Bristol in the United Kingdom, Windsor in Ontario. Different cities, same late night complaint. A steady hum you mostly feel more than hear, worse indoors than out, that crawls under your skin when the world goes quiet. Here's the curveball. Only a slice of folks in those areas hear it. Others just feel pressure, restlessness, or a buzzing kind of silence that shreds sleep. So what's actually making the note? The suspects are the guts of a city. Big industrial plants run rows of fans and compressors at fixed speeds. Ventilation farms on rooftops talk to each other through ducts and steel. Long tunnels and traffic convoys set up slow pulses when trucks bunch at the same pace. On some nights, the sky helps. A temperature inversion can trap low waves and bend them back to the ground like a mirror, turning the night air into a highway for lows. Sound that should drift up skims along neighborhoods and shows up in bedrooms that never asked for it. The ocean gets a vote too, even far inland. When long swells slam the seafloor, they make paired pressure waves, microbaroms, that beat together and launch infrasound into the atmosphere. Those waves can travel hundreds of miles with little loss under the right winds. Add a city structure that resonates near that band, and your house becomes the drum skin for a song. The ocean started. You won't hear the surf. You'll just have a long night. Why worse at night and indoors? Masking drops. High-frequency city noise quiets, so the low bed stands up. Rooms become resonators. Long wavelengths bounce between walls and floors and stack into standing waves, peaks and dips fixed in space. Move your head 30 centimeters and the hum changes. Lie in bed and one spot feels like a hand on your sternum, while the pillow 2 feet away feels normal. That's not drama, that's geometry. The human side is rough. People report a classic pattern. Fall asleep, pop awake at 2, roll for an hour, finally doze, wake again at 4. Head pressure with no pain. A jaw you keep finding clenched. The mind tries to help and makes it worse. You start hunting causes: fridge, neighbor, Wi-Fi, tinnitus. The worry loop raises arousal, which makes the hum feel louder, which keeps you up. After a few weeks, your fuse shortens. You snap at harmless stuff and a room you. Love turns into a room you avoid. Here's the kicker. Showing up with a standard sound meter at lunchtime won't catch it. A weighting, the default scale, mostly ignores infrasound. Midday wind and traffic mask lows that haunt nights, and sources can be intermittent, only under certain winds, temperatures, or plant cycles. On a cold, still night, a fan farm 5 miles away might whisper through an atmospheric duct, and only your block hears it. By morning, it's gone. People feel nuts. They're knocked. So how do you prove a ghost note without a ghost? Slow, boring detective work. Log nights, not lunch hours. Use spectrum views, not just a loudness number. If you can, add C weighting for bass and G weighting for infrasound. Park a meter by the bed, timestamp wake-ups, and compare to the trace. Match those bumps to wind direction, plant schedules, or train timetables. In Windsor, attention circled a steel complex on Zug Island across the border. In Bristol, investigations leaned toward industrial clusters and traffic patterns. In Taos, no single culprit won, which tells you something important. Sometimes it's a pileup of small sources that line up under certain weather and room conditions. Meanwhile, bodies do what bodies do. The same vestibular mismatch and amygdala priming we saw with predators shows up here, but stretched. Instead of a roar and a freeze, it's a slow push that never stops. The system doesn't get to reset. You don't have a tidy Y, so your brain fills one in. That's where neighborhood threads light up. Is anyone else feeling a low buzz? Thought it was just me. Validation helps. Expectation also tightens the loop. On quiet nights, your body still waits for the shove. Could it be that some people are just more sensitive? Yes, and the map matters. Head and inner ear differences change coupling. Age shifts thresholds, and room modes are local. One apartment sits on a peak, the next on a dip. Move the bed 90 centimeters and life changes. Stay put and swear the house hates you. Fix is live at 3 levels, city and plant level. Measure with the right curves, log nights, tweak fan speeds a few percent so big units don't lock together, add silencers, decouple mounts, and stagger start times. Building level, add mass to flimsy panes and panels, seal rattly gaps, soft mount appliances, adjust duct geometry to break organ pipe resonances, and avoid setting 2 machines to identical RPM. Personal level, crack a window to break a pressure trap, shift where you sit or sleep, use brown or pink noise to give your brain a friendly floor, and do a 2-minute breath reset. 5 in, 6 out to talk down the alarm. One micro story to make it real. A row house street had a midnight dread wave. People woke within the same half hour. A renter logged wake times and wind. Patterns matched an industrial park upwind on calm, cold nights. The city asked the plant to detune 2 rooftop handlers that sync near 19 hertz and add rubber isolators. The next cold snap? Quiet bodies, normal dreams. That's dumb, not a monster. A stack of machines, weather, and rooms playing a long note your body can't ignore. Name it, measure it, nudge it, on infrasound, you get your nights back. Vision, and choice. So let's step inside your head for a second, because the hum only matters if your brain buys the ticket, and it does fast before you can name it. First stop is the vestibular system, the tiny canals and otoliths in your inner ear that track tilt and acceleration. Long, slow waves nudge those sensors like the floor did a micro tilt. Your eyes say, we're stationary. That conflict is a red flag. Breath shortens, shoulders pull up, stomach tightens. You don't think danger, you feel wrong. Right behind that, the autonomic system shifts gears. Pupils open a notch to drink more light. Skin conductance ticks up. Tiny sweat changes you'll never notice, but a lab sensor would. Heart rate steadies a little high, and heart rate variability tightens like you're waiting for a start gun. None of this asks for your opinion. It's legacy code for storms, herds, and incoming mass. Infrasound speaks that language well. Now the 19 hertz twists, your eyeballs aren't just marbles. They're fluid-filled spheres with elastic walls, and like any sphere, they've got resonances. Near 18 to 19 hertz, you get a micro-jiggle. You won't feel your eyes shake. What you'll get is a smear at the edges of vision, a hairline motion where there isn't motion. Your brain hates blanks. It fills them fast with best guesses pulled from context. If your body already feels pressure and alert, the best guess leans threat. Rope on a chair? Snake. Coat by a door? Presence. You didn't choose the story. The prediction engine handed it to you. Here's where choices bend. When the system flips to alert, nuance shrinks by design. Your mental menu collapses to the simple set. Go, hide, fight. Great in the woods. Not great in a meeting room riding a room mode. You'll pick faster, safer options. You'll interrupt more, avoid eye contact, or bail early. You'll swear it was rational. It was a nudge. Memory edits itself in the same state. Recall isn't playback, it's rebuild. The mood and arousal when you store and when you remember both color the tape. If you pitched an idea in a room humming at 19 hertz, your body tagged that map with edge. Later, you remember the room hating you, not the fan and duct teaming up like an organ pipe. Tell the story twice, the dread bakes in. That is how places get cursed without anyone lying. Sleep is where slow waves get teeth. The lows don't need to blast you awake. They just need to keep you skimming, nudging you out of deep stages or clipping REM. You wake at 2, roll, dream thin, pop at 4. Do that for a week and cortisol rides higher in the morning, patience dips at lunch, and you feel like you're pushing a shopping cart with a bad wheel. You blame work or your phone, fair guesses. Half the time, wrong. It was air wobbling under 20 hertz and a window that flexes just enough to feed it. Have you ever wondered why crowds melt down in some venues and float in others? Part of it's people, part of it's physics. A hall that traps a long, low mode under a pulsing track can preload 1,000 bodies at once. Add tight space and bright lights, and friction rises. Same band, different room geometry, totally different vibe. We call it energy. A chunk of it is a standing wave whispering, "Hurry up." Could it be that some folks dodge all this? Sure. Head shape, inner ear quirks, posture, even where you stand change coupling. One person sits right on a node and lives edgy. Their coworker sits in a dip and thinks everyone's dramatic. Neither is wrong. The map is lumpy. What about myths? The legendary brown note? Fun TV, bad science. Discomfort, chest flutter, unease, repeatable. Forced loss of control, no good evidence. On the flip, real effects hide in plain sight. Lab work slipping 17 to 20 hertz under music bumps skin conductance, and I want to leave reports, even when people deny hearing anything. That split, strong body, vague label is the sneaky part. So what do you do in the moment? Label it, "My balance gear's getting nudged." That tiny reframe gives the cortex a shot to talk down the amygdala. Breathe 5 seconds in, 6 out for 2 minutes. Move 3 steps to dodge a node. Crack a window to break a pressure trap. Give your brain a friendly floor with brown or pink noise at low volume so it stops hunting the itch it can't name. Here's the good news about rewiring. Plasticity cuts both ways. The same loops that turn that corner feels haunted into a habit can be retrained. Fix the source. Detune a fan. Add mass to a flexi panel. Decouple mounts. Stack a few calm nights. Log the wins, and the prediction engine updates. Safe enough. States become traits, remember? Use that in your favor. Bottom line, this isn't mind control, it's context control. The ghost frequency shortens your menu. It doesn't choose for you. Once you see that, you stop taking the mood personally and start taking the room apart, politely, with a wrench. Mass, weirdness, hysteria, dances, and copycat loops. Now scale this from one body to hundreds, because crowds sync fast. Put people shoulder to shoulder in a room that holds a long, slow note, right in that ghosty band, and you don't just get jittery individuals. You get a shared state that can spill into full-on weird. Picture a medieval hall, hot, packed, drums thudding a steady pattern. Food is scarce, nerves are frayed, and the building's high vaults trap lows that nobody hears but everybody feels. A few people start to sway, partly from heat, partly because moving eases that vestibular itch. Swaying spreads. Mirrors in the nervous system love to copy. The beat locks them in. Soon it isn't some dancers, it's a wave. Chroniclers called it a curse. Bodies called it relief from standing still in a slow, invisible wobble. Modern versions look high-tech but rhyme. Schools report clusters of dizziness, chest pressure, tingling, even fainting. Environmental tests come back clean. Labels like mass psychogenic illness get tossed around. Real phenomenon, sure, but zoom in on the space. Older HVAC thumps along 1 RPM. A portable fan leans into a doorway. A bus depot idles next door. If that room supports a long mode and stress is already high, you've got the perfect stage. Someone posts, "The hallway is buzzing," and a script takes shape. Bodies supply the nudge, stories supply the form. Here's where suggestion pours gasoline. If your friend says, "People faint in that lab," your brain pegs the lab. Walk in, your balance gear gets a low shove, and boom, confirmation. That's not gullible. That's predictive processing doing its job. We're built to learn from each other fast. The downside is that bad predictions spread too. Give a crowd a label, and they'll unconsciously hunt for the feeling that fits it. Quick micro story from a rec center. Late Zumba classes had panic nights. No obvious sound, but people bailed with shaky hands and glassy eyes. Maintenance came in after hours with a basic USB measurement mic and a spectrogram app. Not much on A waiting. Unweighted view told the tale. A fat lump near 19 hertz blooming when 2 rooftop air handlers hit the same speed and the subwoofers kicked the bass line that fed a room mode. They detuned 1 fan by 6%, added rubber isolators, and pulled the subs a foot off the back wall with a slight tilt. Next week, same playlist, same coach, no panic. The haunting was just 2 machines agreeing too much. Arenas show this at scale. Some venues have a reputation for fights flaring fast. Sure, it's culture and alcohol, but watch the building. Long spans, big reflective surfaces, ventilation running hard under a chant. If a standing wave piles up low, you preload thousands of amygdalas at once. Nuance shrinks. Boos jump sooner. Shoves escalate quicker. The same lineup plays a different hall with dead-end modes, and security calls it an easy night. We say energy. Part of it is air playing a long note. Online, the loop speeds up. A clip of someone overcome by the hum in a basement racks views. People watch at night, primed. If their apartment already rides a slow wave, range hood in the stack, neighbors fan farm across the alley, their bodies have a home for the script. Next night, symptoms show before the fan even kicks, because expectation arrived early. That's not fake. That's the body getting ready for the forecast. So how do you break mass weirdness without a sermon? Treat the room like a behavior amp. Map it. Measure lows with the right weighting. C for base, G if you've got it for true infra. Watch how symptoms move across the floor. Doorways calm, corners spike. Add mass to flimsy panels that flex. Detune identical fans so they don't beat together. Decouple mounts. Angle speakers off parallel surfaces, then talk plain. We're chasing a low frequency mode, not a curse. That line alone lowers suggestion and lets nervous systems exhale. One more micro story. A high school had a haunted auditorium. Kids swore the balcony pressed on their chests. The fix was hilariously dull. Tighten loose HVAC bolts, add damping mats to a tinny access panel, and stagger 2 supply fans by 5%. The balcony stopped looming. Theater clubs stopped fainting. Nobody missed the ghost. Bottom line, infrasound alone rarely creates a dancing plague or a fainting wave. It's a cofactor that primes bodies. Add stress, tight quarters, repetition, and a story that spreads, and you get a loop. Remove one piece, usually the room mode, and the loop collapses. We're not calling people dramatic. We're calling bodies honest. When air moves in long, slow waves, nervous systems answer. If a place keeps loading people, fix the note, not the people. Silent weapons? myth, tests, and military research. While that crowd energy was boiling in gyms and arenas, another question kept tugging at the edge. If long, slow waves can prime fear and narrow choices, did anyone try to turn that into a tool? Short answer, yes, people looked. Longer answer, the physics is a buzzkill. Let's be real. Silent weapon. Sounds cool until you do the math. 19 hertz has a wavelength the size of a small house. To push that hard in open air, you need huge radiators and piles of power. Air is squishy. It soaks up energy. Low frequencies don't beam like lasers. They seep like fog. So the viral stories about pocket devices dropping crowds from blocks away? No. But interest in sound as a shove is real. Militaries and police have tested non-lethal acoustics for decades, mostly in the audible band. You've seen LRADs, those dish speakers that project piercing, focused tones to push back lines. That's not infrasound, but it shows the lane. Change behavior with physical sensation. In the low-frequency lane, research asked a narrower question. Can slow tones raise discomfort, distract, or make people leave an area? Useful around perimeters, checkpoints, don't linger here zones. The catch is always the same, range control. Long waves won't stay in a neat cone. If your target feels it, your bystanders and your own team probably do too, which is a PR and ethics nightmare. So what does the lab say when you take hype out? Controlled studies slip 17 to 20 hertz under music or room noise and watch bodies. Results line up with what we've seen. Skin conductance bumps, reports of unease, chills, vague dread, headaches more often than controls. Vigilance rises, tasks feel harder. Ask what folks heard and many shrug. Nothing, but something felt off. That split, effects without awareness, was exactly what defense groups were curious about. In practice, it's finicky. Buildings, wind, humidity, and the exact room geometry love to ruin your plan. Myths? Let's pop a big one. The famous brown note that forces loss of control. Great television, lousy evidence. Brave volunteers got blasted with serious lows in cautious tests. Discomfort, chest flutter, nausea, and some, yes, the legend, no. Stronger, repeatable effects live in distraction, anxiety, and a shove toward leaving. That matters, but it's not sci-fi mind control. There's also the hardware reality. To get meaningful low-frequency levels at distance, you basically build a machine room, not a suitcase. Indoors, you can cheat. Put emitters in a space that already supports a room mode and you get more with less. But again, it spills. If you want precision, you use mids and highs, not infra. Lows are the fog machine, not the spotlight. So why do infra weapons rumors stick? Because real people feel real effects from accidental sources. Ship engines, ventilation farms, long ducts, and then assume intent. Also, declassified docs exist. Agencies have scanned every weird corner of non-lethal. Stink sprays, light dazzlers, heat beams, and sound. Sound keeps a seat because it's scalable and familiar. But almost all practical deployments lean audible, where you can aim, meter, and justify exposure under standards. Ethics puts a hard wall here. Even if you can make a plaza feel wrong, doing it to the public without consent crosses lines. Health risk, transparency, unequal impact. Regulators use exposure limits and weightings for a reason. A weighting tracks what we hear. C weighting pays more attention to bass. G weighting looks at infrasound. Measure with the wrong curve and you'll declare safe while bodies are screaming. That's not just bad science, it's bad governance. Here's a micro story that shows rumor versus reality. A port town swore a Navy ship's secret gizmo was making people sick at night. Headaches, chest pressure, sleep shattered. Cameras pointed at the harbor all week. The device turned out to be brand new dockside power generators feeding burst ships. Their cooling fans hit a sweet spot with a warehouse wall across the water, and on cold, still nights with an inversion, the pairing set up a 19 hertz hoon that rode the river like a pipeline. Not a plot, just bad coupling. Engineers added silencers and flexible mounts, detuned one fan's RPM by a few percent, and the attack stopped. Same ships, same town, new vibe. Could defense tech push lows more cleanly in the future? Maybe at very short range, inside controlled spaces with big kit and ugly spill. But the physics hasn't changed, and the ethics only got heavier. The bigger truth is this: infrasound is lousy for covert precision and great at accidental harm, which is exactly why we should focus on detection, standards, and design. Cities need to log nights, not lunch breaks. Plants need to avoid identical fan speeds that beat together. Buildings need mass where panels flex and decoupling where machines meet steel. The scary story sells. The boring fix saves sleep. If someone tells you a secret beam is rewiring your mind, ask them where the radiator is, how big the horn is, what the G-weighted levels are at 100 meters, and what the weather was. 9 times out of 10, the villain is a fan, a duct, and a sky that turned into a mirror. Everyday exposure. Homes, gyms, malls, work. Let's be real, this isn't just tigers and shipyards. It's your apartment at midnight, your 6 a.m. train, your gym playlist, your open plan office that turns everyone prickly by 4. Everyday spaces can sit right on that ghost band and lean on your nervous system without making a peep. Start at home. HVAC, the usual suspect. Rooftop handlers, furnace blowers, bathroom fans. When a belt loosens or a bearing wears, a narrow RPM band can drift right into 17 to 20 hertz. Long ducts become organ pipes. A return in a corner loads a standing wave. You won't hear a note. You'll feel head pressure, a chest tightness you can't explain, and a bed that's perfect against one wall and awful 2 feet over because you're lying on a node. Fridges do it too. Modern compressors ramp speed, and at night when the kitchen is quiet and the house breathes differently, a slim infrasound bump can ride the cabinets. Washers on spin? If they're on wood joists, that low shake couples into studs and travels like a bass violin. Small, boring fixes win. Add mass under the machine, soft mount the feet, and nudge spin speed a notch. Apartments have a bonus level, shared ducts. One neighbor's range hood can sing into the whole vertical stack. Stack effect at night pulls air up shafts, doors leak, and suddenly a 9th floor kitchen is playing a long note in your 6th floor bedroom. Fast test. Crack a window an inch for 60 seconds. If your shoulders drop, you broke a pressure trap. Second fast test. Sit, stand, and lie down in different spots. If one position feels like an invisible hand on your sternum, mark it. That's geometry, not ghosts. Gyms sell feel it in your bones. And, well, mission accomplished. Subwoofers pour energy into the floor. Bass spill primes arousal. Great for a set, not great when you're still keyed up 3 hours later. Heavy treadmills on stiff decks can pump a slow beat into the room. Mirrors flex and feed a mode you can't hear. Coaches notice it without knowing why. Classes feel amped, then edgy. People jump at cues, then snap at each other over mats. Fixes are easy and invisible. Pull subs away from corners, tilt them a few degrees so they don't hammer parallel walls, decouple racks from studs, lay thicker rubber under platforms, and rotate a row of treadmills so their pulses don't line up across the room. Bonus move, mix tracks that don't stack lows on lows. You'll still crush PRs without the afterburn. Malls and big box stores are low-frequency playgrounds. Long steel bays, escalators, glass everywhere, miles of ductwork. On slow weekday afternoons, you can get that floaty, not quite here feeling walking past empty storefronts. That's a low note with no crowd noise to mask it. Food courts are serial offenders. Compressors cycling in sync, hard surfaces, rows of return vents. If you start a lap and the second you step outside, your chest unclenches, it's not social anxiety, it's architecture. Facility tweaks work. Shift fan speeds by 5%, add flexible connectors to rooftop units, hang absorbers with real mass, not just pretty foam, and check for panels that buzz when you tap them. Then add damping. Transit is sneaky. Buses idle with big diesel pulses that beat with the body of the vehicle. Sit over the rear where the engine couples to the frame, and you'll wear that rhythm. Sit nearer the front axle, and it's easier. Train platforms and tunnels trap slow waves when ventilation ramps or when car sets hit the same speed. Stand hard against the back wall, and a pressure node can lean on you. Step 3, paces forward and it fades. Bridges hum and wind. Sometimes you hear it, sometimes it's just the slow component that leaves you a notch on edge at arrival. Micro hacks help. Avoid dead-end tunnel corners, lean on a pillar instead of the wall, and step away from grills when they kick. Offices are greatest hits albums. Exposed ducts look cool. They also make room modes you can hang a coat on. 2 identical rooftop air handlers lock RPM around mid-afternoon when heat load climbs, beat together, and pump a 19 Hz blob into the collab zone. People yawn at 3, fight over nothing at 4, and quit by spring. Conference rooms, especially glass boxes, love a single strong mode. One chair is cursed. Nobody knows why. Facilities fixes are boring and cheap. Detune one fan by 5 to 10% so they don't sink. Add rubber isolators under curbs. Slap damping sheets on tinny access panels. Add mass to a flimsy partition. And stop parking subs in corners under the stairs. Rotate tables 90 degrees so bodies don't sit square on a pressure peak. And please, don't measure only at lunch with A weighting and declare victory. Log nights or late afternoons with C or G weighting and a spectrum view. Micro story, because this happens every week. A co-working floor had a sad row that ate focus. The manager logged fog scores by seat then, brought a cheap USB measurement mic after hours. Nothing dramatic on A weighting, but a fat hump sat at 18 to 19 hertz on the west side when both handlers spun high. They detuned one unit 6%, added damping to a flexing return panel, and slid a lounge sub off the corner. The sad row turned normal. Nobody heard a thing. Everyone breathed easier. Bottom line, map your day like weather. Notice rooms that make you small. Test tiny changes. Move 3 steps, crack a window, shift a chair. If something in the building hums, ask for boring fixes first. Speeds, mounts, mass, geometry. Skip drama, chase patterns, and take the win the first night you sleep straight through. Detect, measure, mitigate. Practical toolkit. Okay, toolbox time. Start with your body, not gadgets. Classic flags. Dread without reason, head or ear pressure with no pain. A chill in a normal temp room, and edge smears in vision, especially in corners. Bonus clues. A bed that's great at one end and feels wrong 2 feet over, and relief that hits in under a minute when you step outside. Treat those as maybe signs, not proof. Now we test. Run quick, no-cost checks. Sit, stand, then lie down in 3 different spots. Nodes are picky. Position matters. Crack a window an inch for 60 seconds. If your shoulders drop, you just broke a pressure trap. Open an interior door and close a different one. If the feeling moves, your building's breathing is part of it. Turn off suspects one at a time. Bathroom fan, range hood, box fan, space heater, dehumidifier. If you're in an apartment stack, try opening the kitchen while closing the bedroom. Shared ducts love to ring like organ pipes. Now grab simple tools. Your foam mic rolls off the bottom hard, but it's still useful for timing. Use a spectrogram app and watch the lowest band for a fat smear that appears when the weird shows up. Don't worship the numbers, watch the pattern. If that blob appears every time the rooftop units kick on at 10 p.m. or whenever the neighbor cooks, you've got a lead. Better, plug in a cheap USB measurement mic with a known low-end response. Run a spectrum that shows below 40 hertz. If your app offers weightings, use C for bassy rooms, G for infrasound. A weighting will lie to you here, it throws away lows. Logging beats guessing. Set the mic near your bed and log a few nights. When you wake at 2 or 4, tap a timestamp. In the morning, compare wake times to the trace. If you see bumps lining up with those wake-ups, that's not vibes, that's a source. Match the trace to wind direction and plant schedules if you can. You'll feel like a nerd. That's good. Nerds sleep, micro stories help. One tenant felt caved in at 12:12 a.m., 3 nights a week. Her log showed a rising hump just before 12:15. Building records? Garage fans auto-cycled at 12. Maintenance moves start to 6 a.m., added rubber isolators, and the witches vanished. Another family mapped a sad corner by a bay window. A measurement mic found a lump near 19 hertz. A wobbly range hood motor 2 floors up was singing into the shared duct. Tighten bolts, add a flexible connector, end of ghost. Mitigation is mostly boring and great. Change fan speeds by 5 to 10% to detune room modes. If 2 machines match RPM, offset 1 so they don't beat together. Add mass to light panels. Stick on damping sheets or an extra drywall layer to stop flex that feeds lows. Seal rattly gaps. Those little chuffs add harmonics that make the edge itchier. Decouple mounts with rubber or spring isolators so machines don't shake the structure. Shift heavy stuff 1/2 meter off corners. Corners load pressure. Angle subwoofers and pull them off parallel walls. In ducts, break organ pipe lengths. Add a short section or change an elbow. On rooftops, rebalance handlers and check blade pitch. A sloppy bolt can be a ghost factory. Personal hacks buy time while fixes land. Brown or pink noise at low volume gives your brain a friendly floor, so it stops hunting an itch it can't name. Do a 2-minute breath reset, 5 seconds in, 6 out, to tell your amygdala not an emergency. Change posture. Chin back, shoulders down, to ease vestibular strain. Rhythm helps. Walk at a steady pace or play a mid-tempo track without heavy sub-bass to resync. And honestly, don't doom scroll hum threads at midnight. Script stick. At work, ask for the right test at the right time. Can we log after hours with a spectrum and C or G weighting? Beats, it feels haunted. Offer cheap, specific steps. Detune one rooftop unit by 6%. Add isolators under the curb. Slap damping sheets on that tinny access panel. Shift the conference table 90 degrees so chairs aren't parked on a peak. Boring fixes, real change. Community multiplies wins. Keep a simple sheet. Time, place, wind, what machines ran, how you felt. Share a week's pattern with a landlord or facilities lead. Ask for checks when the weird shows up, not lunch. If your town has a hum group, pool for a decent mic, crowd map hotspots with weather notes, and look for overlaps with plant schedules or tunnel ventilation. The goal isn't blame, it's pattern, test, tweak. Sanity check? If the weird fades when the fans stop, you didn't banish a spirit. You tuned a room. Celebrate the first calm night after a change. That's your brain updating the map. Do it twice more, and the case file too. The office states become traits. Sad. Make that work for you. Unknown to them, across town, an open-plan office had turned into a feelings machine. New build, glass walls, exposed ducts, ping-pong table, every brochure cliche. But by spring, a pattern wouldn't let go. People walked in fine and left flat. 3 to 5 in the afternoon was the cliff. Eyes went sandpaper dry. Headaches that Advil shrugged at. Slack jokes got sharp. HR logged more, "I don't know, I just feel off," than real complaints. 2 designers quit with the same line, "I can't think in there." The founders blamed deadlines. Coffee doubled. Nothing changed. Get this, IT saw the first breadcrumb. Their server closet fans failed, so a stack of box fans lived in the copy room for a week. Every day, those spun up near lunch. A few folks on the west side quietly took laptops home. Nobody connected it. Facilities swapped fans, the slump kept happening, and the office went back to blaming vibes. One project manager got curious instead of superstitious. She kept a tiny log: seat, time, weather, which machine she heard kick on, and a 1 to 5 fog score. By Friday, a shape appeared. Mondays were fine. Tuesdays dipped. Wednesdays crawled by 3 p.m., worst along a specific row by a glass huddle room. Thursdays dragged. Fridays lifted after noon when half the floor worked remote. When she camped by the stairwell lounge, the fog eased within 10 minutes. In the cursed chair, her chest went small like she'd forgotten to breathe. She called a friend who did building acoustics. No ghost hunt, just physics. They came after hours with a cheap USB measurement mic, a laptop spectrogram, and an SPL meter that could show C and unweighted bands. They didn't trust A weighting, it throws away lows. Walking the floor, the numbers weren't dramatic, but the plot was. A fat mound lived between 17 and 20 hertz, breathing with the rooftop air handlers, strongest near the west glass. Sit in the cursed chair, the hump swelled like a tide. Meanwhile, the structure was playing along. The slab on that side rode longer spans, springier by a hair. The glass and floor made a paired resonator. Mid-afternoons, as heat load climbed, 2 identical rooftop air handlers hit the same RPM and locked together. Their beats fed a standing wave that the return plenum helped trap. Add open returns lined up like organ pipes, and the room sang a note you couldn't hear, squarely in the ghost band. They climbed to the roof. The units were shiny and in spec. The book loved efficiency curves. The book didn't care about 19 hertz. They asked the vendor to detune 1 unit's fan speed by 6% during peak overlap, so the twins wouldn't lock. They added rubber isolators under the curb. Those bolts had been hard-coupled to steel. In the return plenum, they tacked mass-loaded vinyl over a flexi access panel that buzzed when tapped. Downstairs, they slid the gaming Nook subwoofer off the corner and tipped it a few degrees so it wouldn't pump parallel walls. Cheap, boring, fast. Day 1, after tweaks, nobody threw confetti. Day 2, the 3 to 5 crash softened. People still yawned, but the haunted look faded. Week 2, HR tickets dipped. The PM's log never saw a fog score above 3. The cursed chair got demoted to annoying if I slept badly. 2 folks who'd been taking afternoon walks to clear the buzz stopped going. The founder said, "See, culture is improving." The acoustics friend laughed into their sleeve. Here's the tell. No one heard a change. There wasn't a dramatic before and after clip. What shifted was the invisible floor under choices. Micro-arguments that used to ignite at 4 stayed as shrugs. Heads stayed clearer through the last sprint. People went home less wired, slept deeper, and didn't pop awake at 2. One designer who'd been hiding in a cafe came back and said, "It feels lighter in here." The duck didn't apologize, the fan didn't bow. The room just stopped playing that long note. They kept one habit: logging. A month later, a new hump flickered on 2 windy afternoons. The spectrogram blipped. The fog scores nudged. Maintenance found a loose rooftop access hatch chattering at the edge of the band. 2 latches, a strip of gasket, done. The team posted a note on the bulletin board. "If you feel weird, ping facilities. We measure the stuff we can't hear." That line alone dropped the office temperature. Lesson burned in. Sound architecture is mental health architecture. If your floor lives inside a slow wave, you don't fix morale with pizza. You fix bolts, speeds, mounts, and modes. Measure the thing you can't hear. Log when the weird shows up. Tweak, then watch people breathe again. Keep the ping pong table, just don't park it in the corner that used to hum. Planetary Whispers, Earth's Infrasound Choir. 3 days earlier, something strange began far from any bedroom window. A winter swell ran long over deep water, then slammed the continental shelf like a giant heartbeat. Each hit squeezed a tiny breath out of the ocean, air boundary. Barometers inland wiggled a hair. No one noticed. But the planet had started singing a low note, and a few towns would wear it that night without knowing why. The Earth is never quiet. Ocean surf makes microbaromes, paired pressure waves born when long swells from different storms cross and beat together. Think 2 drummers almost on the same tempo. The tiny mismatch makes a slow throb. That throb pushes into the atmosphere as infrasound, and under the right winds can travel hundreds or even thousands of miles with surprisingly little loss. The sky helps. On cold, clear nights, temperature layers stack into an inversion and turn into a waveguide, an invisible mirror that bounces low waves back toward the ground. Sound that should drift to space skims along neighborhoods instead, threading valleys and city blocks like fog you can't see. Volcanoes add their own baritone. Gas churning, vents breathing, magma sloshing. An entire mountain becomes a giant leaky horn. Infrasound arrays around restless peaks listen for pattern changes that mean pressure is building. A shift in the long, slow note can flag unrest hours to days before ash climbs. Quakes whisper too. Before the sharp crack you feel is shaking, fault zones can leak slow waves that very sensitive sensors catch. Not prophecy, plumbing noise on a geologic scale. Have you ever stood under an anvil cloud and felt thunder arrive twice? First the bang, then a rolling, falling push through your chest. That tail is the low component doing what lows do, hugging ground, bending around corners, landing in your body before your brain names it. Rocket launches make the same point with more fireworks. People miles from a pad feel a chest rattle seconds after the flash. Too slow to call sound, too strong to shrug off. Awe gets a body. Biology writes the caption later. Meanwhile, instruments are learning to hear what we miss. Infrasound arrays, rings of ridiculously sensitive pressure sensors, track distant blasts, meteors breaking up, even secret tests the size of a pinprick on the other side of the world. They map wavefronts like seismologists map quakes. The same math that spots a band detonation helps a coastal lab show how a storm in the Southern Ocean is jostling living rooms in the Midwest 12 hours later. Wild, right? Your house is a tiny leaf on a global tide. So why do some nights feel heavier, like the air got thick and you can't quite settle? Barometric dances matter. Slow pressure swings tug tiny receptors in your chest and blood vessels. Your autonomic system answers with micro adjustments, breath timing, heart wobble. Most days you surf it fine. Stack that with a room that supports a standing wave or a city hum riding an inversion, and the baseline tilts before you meet your inbox. You won't blame the sky. You'll blame coffee, or the neighbor, or nothing at all. Here's a micro story that ties the pieces. A coastal county started logging hum, complaints every time a big swell hit the offshore buoy network. On nights with strong microbaromes and clear, cold air, reports spiked inland, especially in homes with large panes and long rooms that love long wavelengths. Facilities checked one subdivision and found a handful of flexible window units that quivered just enough to feed a 19 Hz room mode. Add mass to the glazing, tweak a couple of HVAC fan curves, and the mystery mood dipped by half the next swell cycle. The ocean was still talking. The room stopped translating. Could it be that this is all out of our hands? Not really. You won't turn off the planet, but you can stop your walls from acting like amplifiers. On nights when wind maps show long swells far away, or the air feels glassy still, you crack a window to break a pressure trap. You pull a bed off a boom-prone wall, you run a soft brown noise floor so your brain latches onto something friendly. Tiny changes blunt big systems. And there's some wonder in it, honestly. The same lows that keep volcanologists up also linked sailors to weather long before satellites. The slow breath flexing a stadium roof might have started with swells a continent away. We're stitched to the planet by notes we don't hear. Our job isn't to mute them, it's to keep our rooms from turning whispers into ghosts. Are we being rewired? What changes and what doesn't? Let's be real about that scary word, rewired. People hear it and picture sci-fi mind control. What's actually in play is plasticity. Your brain's normal habit of changing with state and repetition. Feel a certain way often enough in a certain place, and your brain speeds it up next time. States become traits if you stack the reps. No joke, that's learning, for better or worse. Short term first. Infrasound tilts your body into alert faster than thought. Vestibular mismatch whispers, we're moving. Eyes say, no, we're not. And legacy code flips a switch. Breath shallows, pupils open, skin conductance, bumps. You don't decide to feel on edge, you arrive there. That nudge narrows your menu on purpose. You pick quicker, safer options. Leave early, avoid eye contact, go with the obvious choice. In a room riding a slow mode, you'll swear you made a rational call. You didn't. You gotta push. Vision joins the shove at that 18 to 19 Hertz neighborhood. Your eyeballs do a tiny elastic micro wobble. You won't notice the shake, you'll notice a smear at the edges. The brain hates blanks, so the prediction engine fills with whatever matches your body status. If your chest already feels tight, a coat on a chair leans presence, not coat. You didn't invent a ghost. Your system picked the fastest safe guess. Memory bakes this in. Recall isn't playback, it's a rebuild colored by your current state. Pitch an idea in a room with a long, low wobble, and your body tags that space with edge. Later, you remember the place as hostile. Tell the story twice, the dread brightens. That's how neutral rooms get cursed without anyone lying. The file you save isn't what happened, it's what kept you safe. Sleep is the bridge from moments to habits. Lows don't need to blast you awake, they just need to keep you skimming. You pop at 2, drift, pop at 4, dream thin, and roll into morning with cortisol a notch high. Do that a week and patience shrinks, reactivity climbs, and effort feels heavy. Keep it up for months and circuits shift. Amygdala twitchier, prefrontal control faster to tire, hippocampus playing back threat-colored edits. Now we're in the zone people call rewiring. Could it be permanent? For normal city levels and household modes, the answer's hopeful. This isn't a carved in stone, it's a well-worn path. Remove the nudge, and the system can swing back fast. Detune a fan, add mass to a flimsy panel, decouple mounts, and stack a few good nights. The prediction loop updates. Safe enough. The same plasticity that turned that corner feels haunted into a reflex, lets you unlearn it. States become traits in both directions. What about real harm claims? Blood pressure up, headaches, VAD fears, close, prolonged exposure right next to big machinery or inside structures that hammer the same low bands at high amplitude can cross from mood into health. Some studies argue tissue changes at extreme levels. Others push back. For everyday life, the repeatable shifts live in arousal, sleep, vigilance, and learned avoidance. Big deal, still fixable. Here's the boundary we won't cross. This is not mind control. Nobody's inserting thoughts. It's context control. Prime the body, and choices bend. You still choose, but from a shorter menu. That matters in offices, classrooms, transit, gyms, and homes, because those spaces train you daily. A corridor that loads a slow wave teaches you to keep moving. A bedroom on a node teaches you to scroll. A meeting room with a glass and duct mode trains teams to interrupt. Change the space, and behaviors many leaders call culture soften without a workshop. Sensitivity isn't a moral test. Head geometry, inner ear quirks, age, posture, and exact seat location all change coupling. One person sits on a peak and thinks life is spicy. Their partner sits in a dip and thinks everything's fine. Map it, and the argument ends. It is in your head, in the vestibular gear, because that's the interface. It's also in the room. So what do you do today? Label the state when it lands. Balance gears getting nudged. That tiny sentence gives the cortex a shot to downshift the amygdala. Do the 2-minute breath reset, 5 in, 6 out. Move 3 steps to dodge a node. Crack a window to break a pressure trap. Give your brain a friendly floor with brown or pink noise. Then chase the boring fixes. Detune twin fans so they don't lock. Add damping to flexi panels. Decouple mounts. Shift subs out of corners. Rotate a table so bodies aren't parked on a peak. Log the wins. Celebrate the first calm night. Do it twice more to cement the update. Bottom line, yes, the ghost frequency can rewire you in the everyday sense by training habits, sharpening alarms, and editing memories when sleep breaks. But plasticity is a door that swings both ways. Fix the note, retrain the loop, and watch the haunted feeling drain out like water from a tilted glass. Not destiny, design. Not demons, ducks. And that's good news because bolts and speeds turn faster than folklore. What this means for you. Let's dive into what you can actually do, because knowing the ghost frequency exists is cool and useless unless you can change your space. Start simple. Run a 1-week map. 3 columns. Where you are, when the weird shows up, and what's running. Add a 1 to 5 edge score and jot wind or weather if it's obvious. Still night, cold snap, hot inversion. Tag sleep. Wake-ups, vivid dreams, headache on wake. You're not proving a court case, you're finding patterns. Scout your rooms like a curious raccoon. Sit, stand, and lie in 3 spots. Nodes are picky. If one posture makes your chest feel small or your vision smear at the edge, mark that spot. Crack a window for 60 seconds. If your shoulders drop, you broke a pressure trap. Open the hall door, close the bedroom, then swap. If the feeling moves, your building's breathing is part of it. Turn suspects off one by one. Bathroom fan, range hood, dehumidifier, box fan, space heater. Give each change a minute. If you live in a stack, try opening the kitchen and closing the bedroom. Shared ducts love to ring like organ pipes. Bedroom first. Small wins pay every day. Pull the bed off the wall that booms when you knock. If one end feels wrong, rotate the bed 90 degrees. Add mask to flimsy panes with a second layer or film. Soft mount the nightstand lamp if it rattles. Ask the landlord to shift the garage fan, start from midnight to morning, and to add rubber isolators to any rooftop unit you can reach through maintenance. Offer your log is the case, not a rant. Boring data gets action. Body hacks buy time while you fix the room. Label the signal. My balance gear is getting nudged. It sounds silly, but it gives your cortex a lever on the amygdala. Breathe 5 seconds in, 6 out for 2 minutes. That alone can drop the edge. If you need sound, use brown or pink noise at low volume. It gives your brain a friendly floor, so it stops hunting the itch it can't name. Move 3 steps, seriously 3, to dodge a node. Stand away from back walls and tunnels. On the bus, sit closer to the front axle. In class, avoid the mirror corner where bass piles up. At work, be the calm, squeaky wheel. Ask facilities for an after-hours spectrum log with C or G weighting. A weighting will miss what's bugging you. Offer cheap, specific tweaks. Detune one rooftop unit 5 to 10% so twins don't lock. Add flexible connectors and ducts. Stick damping mats on that tinny access panel. Decouple machine mounts. Add mass to a flimsy partition. Rotate the conference table 90 degrees so chairs aren't parked on a pressure peak. If one chair is cursed, swap the layout before you swap the team. Gyms and venues, use routing and timing. If a platform corner leaves you wired, pick the opposite side. If the sub lives in a corner, avoid that lane. Ask, nicely, if they can tilt subs a few degrees off parallel walls or roll off the deepest shelf on late classes. Trainers want hype, not panic nights. For arenas or churches where you sit weekly, test seats. If your chest loosens 3 rows back, that's your row now. Advocate upstream. If you sit on a tenant board, push for decoupled mechanical rooms, fan farms not bolted straight to steel, and spec sheets that include low-frequency controls, not just pretty A-weighted numbers. Ask your city to log hum complaints with time, wind, and plant schedules. Nights, not lunch. Propose staggering start times and avoiding identical RPMs across big units. It's not exotic, it's responsible. Media hygiene matters. If spooky content plus a buzzy room ruins your sleep, watch that stuff earlier. Pair it with a walk and eat something real. Do not feed your prediction loop in bed. Tell your people your plan. Window trick first, breath reset second, then a quick check of suspects. Normalize it. Bodies are honest. Rooms are loud. Community multiplies wins. Pool for a decent USB measurement mic. Crowd map hotspots with weather notes and match spikes to plant or tunnel operations. Share boring fixes that worked. Detuned twins, rubber isolators, added mass, rotated tables, shifted beds. Celebrate the first calm night. That's your brain updating the map. Do it twice more. States become traits. Use that. Bottom line, test, don't guess. Measure the thing you can't hear. Change one variable at a time. If the weird fades when the fans stop, you didn't banish a spirit. You tuned a room. That's control you can keep. That quiet pressure you keep blaming on stress might be a room playing a note your body can't ignore. Want more hidden levers shaping your choices? Hit subscribe and drop your hum stories below. Share this with the friend who blames spirits for bad HVAC. Then watch our next deep dive on the subtle signals steering you every day. And start mapping the invisible.